Welcome to the Home Grow series presented by the Evolution Magazine. It is Thursday evening, November 19th, 2020, here at Happy Rock Farms in Kansas City. Tonight's host is Big V, aka the KC Grow Coach, with co-host Stewart Wells with Total Green Solutions KC. Tonight's topics will show you how to make the most of your available space when planning your grow room build-out and break down the most common mistakes for first-time growers. The show starts at 7 p.m. And now a word from our sponsors.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association is working toward a cannabis industry that maintains local control over a free market full of genuine Missouri-owned businesses. This free market should facilitate access to quality medicine at affordable prices. We mention prices because we don't feel like it's adequate to simply have medical cannabis available. An adequate supply must be available at affordable prices so that patients can purchase as much medication as they need and aren't limited strictly by finances. We feel the best route to accomplish this is to lift total license caps for the industry because, by doing so, natural market competition will create supplies and prices that are very patient-friendly. We are also working to amend the Missouri Constitution to allow for adult use cannabis, protect home growers' rights, and to expand the caregiver program so that your fine skills can help more people have access to the medicine they need. If these initiatives sound appealing to you, we need your help. Your help will strengthen our voice and include your own. With memberships starting at $10 a month, check out mocia.org for more information on benefits and discounts. Now, sit back, relax with your favorite medicine, and enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, Big V here coming to you from Kansas City, and there's so many exciting things going on here since we've been given the freedom to use medical cannabis. And one of the things that we've been given the freedom to do is to grow our own cannabis. And so there's a lot of people out there right now, maybe you're one of them, who's thinking about growing their own medication so they're not spending the high prices that it costs to get it from the dispensary or wherever they're going to get it from. And that's where I come in. I'm going to teach you from start to finish how to grow your own medication, what equipment you need, get you set up and work with you to customize a program that fits your particular situation. Most of my clients that come to me, they're new, they've never grown at all, and they have absolutely no idea where to start. And so I'm going to walk you through and help you understand the laws. I'm going to help you understand how to stay compliant and teach you how to do all the little things that you need to know to be successful from here on out. So if you're struggling, maybe you've been out there looking through the internet trying to find the answers and you just can't get them all together in one place, get a hold of me, KC Grow Coach, www.kcgrowcoach.com, and I can definitely help you get to where you want to go and accomplish your goals as far as cultivating your own medication.
Total Green Solutions KC is here to facilitate all your growing needs, specializing in creating the perfect grow space. They build indoor spaces as well as greenhouses. With over 20 years of combined construction experience in electrical, carpentry, plumbing, ventilation, and landscaping, they can help you design, build, and install the grow area of your dreams. Find them online at totalgreensolutionskc.com and contact them today.
Green Gene Turpin here backstage at the CannaFest Bowl Nationals, the Auto Growathon, a 4-state competition pitting grower against grower, where they all grow the magic melon auto flower from Humboldt seeds. Tonight, I'm joined by the Missouri Madman. What brings you into this competition, sir?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Green Gene. 25 large. And I'm going to be in charge when I put my stamp on the rest of the competition.
There you have it. The Madman means business. We're going to kick this back to you, Bill.
Tonight's episode is streaming live from Happy Rock Farms, conveniently located in the heart of Midtown, Kansas City, Missouri. Happy Rock Farms strives every day to provide the very best equipment, tools, supplies, and expertise to growers at all experience levels. Owned and operated by growers for growers, more than just another retail store, a space for research, learning, and community building. With a price match guarantee, you can rest assured that you always get the best products for the best price in town. Open daily from 10 to 7, Sundays noon to 4. Happy Rock Farms, fine gardening and hydroponic solutions. Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com. Level Up Audio Visuals is your local source for cutting-edge audio, visual, and lighting technology. From digital signage and animated menu boards to multi-room audio and video distribution. Need a little help with live broadcasting? Do you want to learn about the many new tools to take your content to the next level? We can help you level up. Visit our website today, levelupav.com. We can even put graphics on a cake. Please take a moment to acknowledge our network affiliates and streaming affiliates across the state of Missouri. The Home Grow series is made possible by the cooperation of many groups coming together to provide an educational platform for the community. We'd like to thank all our affiliates and sponsors, and will feature different groups each week. Now stay tuned for the Home Grow series, starting at 7 p.m., just moments ahead. Welcome to the Home Grow series presented by the Evolution Magazine. It is Thursday evening, November 19th, 2020, here at Happy Rock Farms in Kansas City. Tonight's host is Big V, aka the KC Grow Coach, with co-host Stewart Wells with Total Green Solutions KC. Tonight's topics will show you how to make the most of your available space when planning your grow room build-out and break down the most common mistakes for first-time growers. The show starts at 7 p.m. And now a word from our sponsors.
The Missouri Cannabis Industry Association is working toward a cannabis industry that maintains local control over a free market full of genuine Missouri-owned businesses. This free market should facilitate access to quality medicine at affordable prices. We mention prices because we don't feel like it's adequate to simply have medical cannabis available. An adequate supply must be available at affordable prices so that patients can purchase as much medication as they need and aren't limited strictly by finances. We feel the best route to accomplish this is to lift total license caps for the industry because, by doing so, natural market competition will create supplies and prices that are very patient-friendly. We are also working to amend the Missouri Constitution to allow for adult use cannabis, protect home growers' rights, and to expand the caregiver program so that your fine skills can help more people have access to the medicine they need. If these initiatives sound appealing to you, we need your help. Your help will strengthen our voice and include your own. With memberships starting at $10 a month, check out mocia.org for more information on benefits and discounts. Now, sit back, relax with your favorite medicine, and enjoy the show.
Hey everybody, Big V here coming to you from Kansas City, and there's so many exciting things going on here since we've been given the freedom to use medical cannabis. And one of the things that we've been given the freedom to do is to grow our own cannabis. And so there's a lot of people out there right now, maybe you're one of them, who's thinking about growing their own medication so they're not spending the high prices that it costs to get it from the dispensary or wherever they're going to get it from. And that's where I come in. I'm going to teach you from start to finish how to grow your own medication, what equipment you need, get you set up and work with you to customize a program that fits your particular situation. Most of my clients that come to me, they're new, they've never grown at all, and they have absolutely no idea where to start. And so I'm going to walk you through and help you understand the laws. I'm going to help you understand how to stay compliant and teach you how to do all the little things that you need to know to be successful from here on out. So if you're struggling, maybe you've been out there looking through the internet trying to find the answers and you just can't get them all together in one place, get a hold of me, KC Grow Coach, www.kcgrowcoach.com, and I can definitely help you get to where you want to go and accomplish your goals as far as cultivating your own medication.
Total Green Solutions KC is here to facilitate all your growing needs. Specializing in creating the perfect grow space, they build indoor spaces as well as greenhouses. With over 20 years of combined construction experience in electrical, carpentry, plumbing, ventilation, and landscaping, they can help you design, build, and install the grow area of your dreams. Find them online at TotalGreenSolutionsKC.com and contact them today.
Green Gene Terpene here backstage at the CannaFest Bowl Nationals, the Auto Growathon, a 4-state competition pitting grower against grower, where they all grow the magic melon auto flower from Humboldt seeds. Tonight, I'm joined by the Missouri Madman. What brings you into this competition, sir?
Well, I'm going to tell you one thing, Green Gene. 25 large. And I'm going to be in charge when I put my stamp on the rest of the competition.
There you have it. The Madman means business. We're going to kick this back to you, Bill.
Tonight's episode is streaming live from Happy Rock Farms, conveniently located in the heart of Midtown, Kansas City, Missouri. Happy Rock Farms strives every day to provide the very best equipment, tools, supplies, and expertise to growers at all experience levels. Owned and operated by growers for growers, more than just another retail store, a space for research, learning, and community building. With a price match guarantee, you can rest assured that you'll always get the best products for the best price in town. Open daily from 10 to 7, Sundays noon to 4. Happy Rock Farms, fine gardening, and hydroponic solutions. Tonight's video is provided by Cat King Films. Check this out. Cat King Films is offering promotional content, commercials, training videos, wedding videos, and documentary-style video production at an affordable price. A free consultation comes with every project to ensure that it is personalized to your brand. Check out previous projects by exploring the different sections on the newly launched website at catkingfilms.com. Level Up Audio Visuals is your local source for cutting-edge audio, visual, and lighting technology. From digital signage and animated menu boards to multi-room audio and video distribution. Need a little help with live broadcasting? Do you want to learn about the many new tools to take your content to the next level? We can help you level up. Visit our website today, levelupav.com. We can even put graphics on a cake. Please take a moment to acknowledge our network affiliates and streaming affiliates across the state of Missouri. The Home Grow series is made possible by the cooperation of many groups coming together to provide an educational platform for the community. We'd like to thank all our affiliates and sponsors, and will feature different groups each week. Now stay tuned for the Home Grow series, starting at 7 p.m., just moments ahead.
Hello, Evolution family, Missouri patients, can of family, can of friends. We are shooting live here with episode number 32. Live here from Happy Rock Farms in Kansas City, Missouri, one of our favorite hydroponic stores in the state. We got a great show for you tonight. We have Big V, aka Casey Grow Coach. He's going to be laying down some grow knowledge, some of the biggest mistakes first-time growers make later in the show. But the first show, we have a special guest here, Stewart Wells with Total Green Solutions KC, talking about how to make the most of your space to do your grow build-out. So it can be anything from a basement to a closet to a full-on bedroom. They have all the solutions to turn that into the best grow space available for you. And tonight we're going to be talking about all that. But before I pitch it over to them, I want to give a shout out to our sponsors, the MCIA, Missouri's first trade organization. I would highly suggest joining that group, looking to see what they have to offer for their adult use initiatives, and they have a great patient caregiver program you guys can sign up for. If you're a patient looking for a patient caregiver or a patient caregiver looking for a patient, they can help you with that. They can help you with some of the legal documents involved with all that through their program. Check them out online. Also, Humboldt Green and the Auto Growathon that is getting closer to being ending. That should end towards the end of December. We should have the results on that competition. I'm sure we'll do some kind of live broadcast from that get together when they announce those winners. So thank you for that sponsorship. Looking forward to some more at-home grow competitions coming up next year. Stay tuned for some of that. And of course, Casey Grow Coach. If you're a new grower, or even if you're a seasoned grower having some difficulties in the garden, reach out to Casey Grow Coach. He can help you out. He can solve those problems. He can get you going from the ground up if you're a new grower. So check him out. You can find him on Facebook. Do you have a website, Big V? Or
Yep.
You can jump online.
CaseyGrowCoach.com.
CaseyGrowCoach.com. Or you can reach him there. You can reach out to the Evolution. We'll get you a hold of him, however you want to do that. But he's a wealth of wisdom in the garden, and he can help you out no matter kind of where he's at, where you're at with your knowledge and everything. So I think that's all of our sponsors. By the way, if you haven't seen our Veterans Day special last week, what a tearjerker. Make sure you go check that out after this show, of course. Don't go right now. But man, what a show. We had these high-up veterans, seasoned veterans in the military that were admitting that they were wrong about the war on drugs, and wanted to see how they can help, and we're actually trying cannabis for their medicinal needs, and what a great show led by Todd Scatini and Chris Wolfenberger. We're going to try to have more of shows with those guys starting in January, so stay tuned for that. One last thing, thanks to our production crew, we got James Thomas here with Level Up AV, and then Kat over here with Cat King Films. Thanks so much for your help. Without further ado, let's pass it on to the guys with the knowledge here, Big V and Stewart.
Hey, what's happening, everybody? Give us a little too much accolades there, Clayton. So, how's it going, everybody? Welcome to the Evolution Home Grow series coming from Happy Rock Farms. So, this is my house, and not my house, but it is my house, but it's not my house. So, but I've claimed it. I love this place, man. So, I've made it my home. We're here, and we're going to talk about choosing your best space for your grow when you're first starting out. I want to give a few shout outs though real quick. I got to go to St. Louis this last week, and I want to give a shout out to Treehouse Canopy in Pacific, Missouri, and Jason down there, great guy. He's going to start carrying our soil, the dank that we make here at Happy Rock Farms, because we've just had so much demand for it in the eastern part of the state and the southern part of the state, and really all over Missouri. So we're trying to get it out there, and for all of you guys in the St. Louis area and down around that southern part of the southeast part of the state there, hit up Jason at Treehouse Canopy. They've also got some great tent deals and stuff like that. It's a really nice shop, and I was impressed when I was down there. So you can get our dank there, you can get our dank dust there, and man, I'm just excited about that. And we're working on some other contract negotiations with some other grow shops to get the soil out to even more people. So if you want our dank that we make here at Happy Rock Farms, please call your local grow shop. Tell them to get a hold of me here at Happy Rock Farms, and we'll get you guys set up and hopefully be able to get this out to you. You just can't get a better living soil on the market than what we make right here. The Grow Depot in Columbia, I went out there today. Actually, Stewart went out there with me today. We took a road trip and talked to those guys. Great place. If you're in Columbia or anywhere around there, they got everything you need. And so, go see those guys. MCIA is doing a great job. I want to give them a shout out. I recommend becoming a member of that and getting hooked in there if you really want to have an impact on what's going on in the cannabis community right now. We're going to do MCIA, and of course, Fresh Green Dispensaries out in Lee Summit. You can get our soil out there if you're out in Lee Summit area. They carry the dank dust, they carry the dank, they're carrying some of our other products out there. So yeah, just get out there if you can't make it all the way up here, and talk to Rob and Bianca and tell them, hey, we need 10 bags of the dank, and we'll get it out to you. So, and also, last but not least, watch my show, Top Shelf, Tuesdays, 7 o'clock. Me and Zach just, just being real. Whatever we're doing, we're just having fun being real. So, yeah.
I recommend it.
So we're going to, Stewart Wells here. I met him at the Canna events by Leo this year, and we had kind of touched base on Facebook a little bit here and there, but we actually put hands together at the Canna events, but not literally because we were social distancing, but we kind of fist bumped from a distance. So,
most definitely.
So yeah, he's a great guy, and they've got a business that intrigues me because what I do, the KC Grow Coach, and what he does, Total Green Solutions, kind of works hand in hand with one another, and
really
they've got the same vision that I do, just helping people learn how to grow at home, helping people. They're kind of on the spectrum of helping them with the spacing and the grow room build outs and all that stuff, where I'm more of the teaching part of the coaching part and getting you through the actual grow. So we kind of bounce off each other here a little bit, and
right.
And talking to him, I realized that he had a lot of knowledge, and he's probably not as young as he looks, but I'm
old enough. I've been
what
around
is
for
he,
a little
19?
while. I'm a little bit older than that, but
A little bit, yeah. So
you're right, though. Where our job ends, that's where your job begins, and that's why
Right.
they work just one right after the other. So that is perfect, 'cause
Absolutely.
we could even refer our clients to you, and who knows, maybe they
Right.
could grow some top shelf cannabis.
they will grow top shelf cannabis.
Most definitely.
If they put their heart into it. So, we got to talking a lot, and I wanted him to come on here because I want to talk about, choosing the best space for your grow room. And we deal a lot with people who say, I've never grown before. I don't know where I'm going to grow. Because my first question is, when somebody gets in contact with me and says, hey, I want to grow cannabis. I've got my medical license. I've got my cultivator's permit. I want to help grow. I want to learn how to grow cannabis. What do I do? And my first question is, what kind of space do you have? Do you have a space picked out? And so that's the primary thing that needs to be decided before you break off into the venture of growing your own cannabis. And so, I think that's probably an area where his expertise can come in, and he can talk to you about what they do and how they can help, or how you can help yourself if you're a DIY person. So if, when you walk into a house, just kind of walk us through the process, man. When somebody calls Stewart, Wells, and Total Green Solution, and I don't want to leave your partner out. What's
Mitch.
Mitch? Give his okay.
Mitch Clickenbeard.
Mitch Clickenbeard. Okay. All right. So we got a scenario where somebody calls you and they say, "Hey, man, can you come out and show me what I need to do to set up a garden space?" And I just want to throw in here that this isn't just for cannabis necessarily.
Right.
There's a lot of people growing a lot of things inside, microgreens, their own herbs, tomatoes. So it's not just about cannabis. An indoor garden space, it can be anything. So
Most
anyway,
definitely. So, what we do offer a free consultation where we would come and, the first thing that we would have to do is we would want to find out what your personal goals are, because not everybody's goals are the same.
Right.
Some people just want to grow a little. Some people want to scale up and, become caregivers and take care of more people. And either way is fine with us. So we just have to decide where we're going to put that. And, we'll find out what your available space is, and then find out which obstacles are in your way, because, there are a few necessities that you would need, such as power in that space to, of course, run the lighting. You would have to, it has to be secure. You have to have a lockable space.
Right.
So that's very important. So we would make sure to, put a locking door on the space that we build. We'll build a room out of nothing. It doesn't, we can build a room in an existing space and put a door on it, a lockable door.
What are some of the areas, some of the spaces that work good as a garden? I know.
Well,
I know. See,
basements.
Because, basements are great. Basements have always been good. They've always really. The climate
served us well.
The climate is really easy to control in a basement.
Right.
Much easier than any other room in the house, because generally you've got at least 6 inches of concrete around you in the basement. And
always easier to maintain.
If you have a basement that is, and you have a section that's under the garage where they've been putting the steel support across and then pouring the concrete in the garage over the steel support and making that kind of a safe room almost,
right?
Then you've really got a perfect place to put a grow room under that area with that steel, because the climate, it can be controlled to such an extent that it's just something we all dream of. Let's see a question here. What's the best method for determining the best lighting solutions and figuring out if you have any light deficiencies and where? Okay, so that's a pretty heavy question for where we're at in our conversation.
Right. That's kind of based on your goals, of course. Just a quick rundown would be.
This is something we typically run into is getting ahead of the game.
Kind of the old school would be like a high pressure sodium. Yeah. Nowadays we kind of recommend going to a nice LED. That's usually a good start, but.
Well, let's see. I'm gonna dissect the question. What's the best method for determining the best lighting solutions? Okay, so to me, I would think that looking at the ventilation, because we're gonna think, do we want HPS or do we want LED? Is ventilation an issue?
That's a good point.
First of all, I'm gonna say this: if you're coming into growing right now, just quit buying HIDs. Okay. Invest your money in a good LED. And I was a diehard HID guy, and I still love HIDs, and I still have HIDs. But I am switching over to LEDs as my wallet allows me to, because I do understand the principle that if you're going to buy an LED, you need to get a good one. I've bought cheap LEDs, and they're just as hot as a HID, and they don't do as good a job.
Right.
I buy a quality LED, and they do a great job. So
nice and quiet.
Nice and quiet. It doesn't hum all night, which we don't get so much humming with the digital ballasts of the HIDs, but definitely back when the magnetic days. Oh God, what a nightmare! But so I've heard. So ventilation. What do you look for when you're looking for a place when you're looking to ventilate?
What we like to do is find a place to drill out with a 4-inch hole saw, and then we like to put just a standard dryer vent on the outside, so it just we get a color that, like on the ones that we've done, we've gotten colors that get pretty close to matching the house. So, it's just real inconspicuous. I mean, even with it being legal, we try to still kind of keep it on the down low.
Absolutely.
We don't want your business out there for everyone.
Right.
So, we recommend a carbon filter as far as ventilation goes. And yeah, if you have the ability to ventilate a high pressure sodium, go that route if you so choose, because you can get those a little cheaper, if you're just kind of starting out. I understand wanting to, be not wanting to be on a budget, but being on a budget. And,
well, the ceramic metal halides are really nice lights.
This is true.
The 315 watt ceramic metal halides, those are really nice lights. A high pressure sodium, the 600 watts, they don't put off a whole lot of heat. So if you're in a small place and you can only vent a 4-inch hole, then that would probably be more of my choice. It would be a 600 watt high pressure sodium if I was going to go with the HID.
Right.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
1,000 watt, you'd really need a 6-inch hole. So, but I don't think anybody that's just starting to grow really needs 1,000 watt.
Right.
So
true.
Yeah.
Especially not with LEDs and stuff. But yeah, you were saying.
No, just we're talking about ventilation and bringing that out. So is there a difference in ventilating an area that has HID as opposed to LED? Do you worry so much about the ventilation?
We still want ventilation because you want to change the air and bring the fresh air into the space. You would still do it either way, but you're just not so much worried about it because of the heat when you go with an LED anymore.
Right.
So, and a lot of it goes back to personal preference. So it's like, some people are diehard,
right.
So
I know I've been diehard for years, dude. Yeah, it's important that we get a place that can be ventilated. Whether it's a closet, under the stairs, in the basement, whatever, we really need to be able to exchange the air a little bit. So,
for sure. Yeah, we want fresh air. We want an inline fan, or something to bring in the
And we
air.
were talking about the power source too. Power sources are a little easier to gain than a ventilation or water source or something like that. So,
especially if you're in a basement, because it's a lot of times in an unfinished space, and we can bring power over from the panel. We can run a dedicated circuit. That's what we recommend, even for even if you're not going to be pulling big power.
No, lights should always be on a dedicated circuit.
You don't want to share that circuit with anyone. So
when it comes to carbon filters, how often do they need to be replaced, and is there any way to clean them? You know what? I have heard of ways to clean them, but I haven't had any. I haven't tried it because I've heard that it's. I don't know. I guess you could theoretically wash them out and let them dry, maybe blow the fan backwards through them, but no, I don't really. I've never really cleaned any of mine. As far as carbon filters, how often do they need replaced is going to depend on the carbon filter. So when you buy a carbon filter, a lot of people really don't know what they're looking for in a carbon filter and how to even shop for one. But a carbon filter, the more carbon, the higher the density of the carbon in the filter, the better the cleaning and the scrubbing of the air. So when you're buying a carbon filter, you want to make sure that you go by weight, okay? And depending on the carbon filter, you want the heaviest weight filter for the size of carbon filter. If you're buying a little 4-inch filter, you want to buy one that's heavy with carbon, the highest carbon content you can find. Personally, we definitely want to change those out, though. I think the max on a carbon filter should be about 1.5 years if you have a really, really nice carbon filter. If you have a mediocre carbon filter, probably 8 months to 1 year. So that's probably, my recommendation. 1 year at the most on a carbon filter. A high quality carbon filter, 2 years. And some claim 3 years, but I don't know if I would. There was a time when I don't know. I might try to risk it now, but I don't think 3 years is probably realistic. So I would change mine out every minimum 2 years, or maximum 2 years, minimum a year. So if you added CO2, would you still want to vent the room? You want to answer that?
Yeah, no, if you add CO2 to a space, you definitely want it to be in a sealed space, because if you vent the room while introducing CO2, the CO2 will just leave very quickly.
Just sucking the CO2
and it will just, it'll be gone, and you'll be going through a tank a day or every 2 days. And
It'll
I mean,
suck the CO2 right
guaranteed the return on investment will not be what you had hoped after buying a controller and a bottle and all of that.
Yeah.
So no, you would definitely want to seal the room if you were going to use CO2, and actually that's kind of something that one of our clients had some experience with. He started using CO2, so he sealed up the room, but that kind of made it a little warmer in there, and he didn't like that. So we're actually thinking of just removing that and just going with the
I was
fresh,
about
cool
to say
air.
If you add CO2, there are other factors that you have to take into consideration, and other modifications you're going to have to make because of those factors. When you close that room, you're going to deal with humidity issues, you're going to deal with heat issues, and you're going to have to condition the air. Most of the time, you're going to end up with a mini split if you really want the maximum efficiency.
Yeah, if you're serious.
You can use, I guess, a portable AC with the dual port, but the single port just sucks the CO2 right out of the room and dumps it out.
Right,
so
when it pulls the heat out.
Yeah, you have to have the right air conditioner, and then once you have the right air conditioner, you're running your CO2 and scrubbing your air inside your room. Then your humidity, you need to make sure keep your humidity in check. So you have a dehumidifier and a humidifier, and so you just there are a lot of things to take into consideration. So
a very wise man just the other day at your show actually told me that CO2 is great and all, but it's probably last on the list.
Yeah, I agree. You should have
absolutely.
You should have your grow dialed in and your environment dialed in before you even consider using CO2, because it really the amount of CO2 that's in the air is very adequate for plants to prosper. When you add CO2, it speeds the process up. It speeds everything, the metabolism of the plant up, and everything starts moving a lot faster. If you're going to have problems, it's going to happen a lot faster, and it can get out of hand real quick if you don't have the experience to handle the CO2. And if you don't have the money to add an air conditioner and a dehumidifier and a humidifier, then just vent your room and be happy with it. You're doing great. So I guess this next question is for me. So can you reuse the dank after pulling a male? If I pulled a male and chopped it out, did it pollinate? More than likely, what you have to realize about pollen is as soon as water hits it, it's inert, it's done. So I would probably scrape off the top 1.5 inches of the soil, maybe throw it in a bucket and get rid of it, and then saturate the soil with water and then plant in it. I mean, I don't see, wipe the bag off, whatever. But personally, now the answer is that you can. Would I do it? No, because pollen scares the living crap out of me. Unless I want it to be there. And this is something that recently happened to me. I pollinated an entire grow because I didn't pay attention to what I was doing. Because I'm real, I mean, dude, we all make mistakes. I didn't pay attention, pollinated a whole grow. Got some great seeds, though. So I'll be going through those shortly. But what is the cost for bringing more power into your home if your fuse box is filled up?
Okay, so that's kind of that would be on a case by case basis. We just added a sub panel in a house that already had a 200 amp service, but for
Right.
some reason when they installed it, the panel was very short, so they ran out of space
Sure.
very quickly. Even though they had more power capabilities, they did not have space for breakers. So we took 2 breaker spaces and we gave them a sub panel with about 24 or so extra circuits. And that's one very easy way. If you aren't set up quite like that and you needed a full service upgrade, then that would be a whole different story, which we'd have to come out and check the scene out and give you a
Right.
bid on something like that. But we're always willing to do that. Like I said, free consultations. We
Yeah.
love going and talking to people.
And again,
So-
it's going to matter, how big the panel is there. Do they have a 200 amp service already, or are they a 100 amp service? Do they need to upgrade? So there's a whole lot that goes into that, because you can have a box, like you said, that's full, but you can expand it. So yeah, absolutely. And that's something that I run into quite a bit, is having to upgrade
that's a big one.
the box.
And we are actually electricians,
Right.
Originally by trade. So we do
can do all
like
that.
doing those. Yes, those are kind of one of our favorites.
So how much light is too much light? I'm running 2 metal halide Mars Hydro SP3000s and a SF2000 Spider Farmer. My first question would be, how much space are you in? So I'm going to answer your question with a question.
You probably won't get that real time. So.
Yeah, well, I mean, it depends on what space you're in. Can you have too much light? This is a debated subject. To me,
5x5, sorry.
a 5x5? Okay, in a 5x5. So the Spider Farmer 2000, I mean, I don't think that's too much light. I'm not a fan of the Mars Hydro SP3000s, but they're good lights for if you're on a budget. I'm not really familiar with the Spider Farmer as far as the 2000 goes, but I don't think you necessarily have too much light in the tent or the 5x5 space. I just assumed you were in a tent, but can you have too much light? I'm learning a lot about light right now with the whole LED HPS switch thing, and I am learning that with the intensity that's coming with a lot of the commercial LEDs, then we are actually running into some problems where at certain points there is too much light intensity on the plants and it stresses them out too much. So the answer for how much light is too much light, I think that's going to be relative to the space and the growing conditions and the ability to cool the room, because heat is a factor in whether there's too much light. How much canopy height do you have? So there's a lot of things that factor into it, but you can have too much light. Apparently, I've definitely seen some grows burn up because the light intensity is just too much, especially if you bring the light too close. So make sure you know how close those lights can operate to the canopy. The SP3000 on the Mars Hydro, quite honestly, I wouldn't put it any closer than 18 inches. Every time I put mine, I have a SP1000 just over, a small area. And every time I put it any closer than 18 inches, I start getting stress. So, and I'm not sure what driver the SF2000 Spider Farmer is or what diodes they use, so I really can't comment on that. But I don't think you have too much light for that space. That was a long-winded answer. See what happens? No more questions. All right, so water source. What if we don't have a water source? Or what if, okay, so like I just put a tent in, because I usually do tents to start my clients out in, unless they, have a space that's fairly easy to deal with. So I do a lot of spare bedrooms because I work with a lot of people that are like empty nesters. So they're older people and they want to learn to grow, and we get them a tent and we put it in a bedroom. because they have a spare bedroom, and we try to climatize the bedroom to match the tent and just try to, we work the climate out because we're just trying to get them growing some decent, medication. So, but generally they end up having to figure out a way to bring water in.
Right. I consider water somewhat of a luxury item in some cases, meaning that, if you wanted to truck water from a faraway source to your source, you could. I've done it in 5-gallon buckets.
Right.
But, we can get you a water line over, to your space if you require it, pretty much no problem. So, if you need water, if you're filling large reservoirs, you probably want, a space close by. So if you're doing hydroponics, water's probably important to you. If you're doing dirt, it's probably less important to you because you're not watering nearly as much at a time or even as often. So, but I mean, if you have water near there, great. And if not, don't, we can get it for you.
You put it there, you plumb it through, right?
Yep, that's an option for sure.
Why would you choose to add CO2?
Oh, well.
Why would you choose?
I guess I guess I better let the grow coach answer that one. I know the answer, but you take it.
When you add CO2, why would you choose to add CO2? CO2 is the plants basically inhale CO2 like we inhale oxygen. That's the principle. So when you add CO2, the more available CO2 in the air, you are basically supercharging the plant's ability to grow. And so you actually get higher yields. You can get denser buds. You can also get airier buds if you don't have everything dialed in when you're trying to use CO2. So basically, the reason you would add CO2 would be to raise your yields.
And that's basically, that's why I've wanted to run CO2 in the past. And, now that I see my client wanting to come away from it and I understand why, I'm kind of changing my mind on that. But, carbon is, I read that, carbon is 40% of dried plant material. So, when you feed it more CO2, you just get more bud. So.
Yep, that's pretty much it. So you would definitely add it to increase your yields. So, all right. So I think, I really think that pretty much covers all of the obstacles that you're going to face. Is there anything you want to add about what you're, when you walk in? I've kind of drug you off track a little bit, but when you go in,
we want to make sure that to provide a legal space. So it does have to be a secure, lockable space. That's very important. Other than that, you've got the few hurdles such as, water, plumbing, electrical, lighting, and, once we get your goals figured out and, we know how to tailor each of those to you, we'll make a plan and, that's just kind of
sit down,
that's
figure out
basically
what the
whole
vision
process.
is. Yeah.
Exactly.
And get them going. But finding the space, that's the first obstacle that you have to overcome. So
and understanding that even though you feel limited, there are really a lot of options. One thing that we didn't touch on was, we'll for the outdoor enthusiast, we'll put a greenhouse up for you.
Nice.
Greenhouses are legal if they're built correctly.
Right.
They just have to be lockable, secured to the ground, not accessible from the top, and not visible to your neighbors with the naked eye. So, that's always an option. And a
what
good
if they
option.
have sunglasses on? Can it be visible? It says to the naked eye. So what does that actually mean?
Well,
what is the naked eye?
I think that they cannot try to see you. I think that they just have to see you.
Oh, okay. So no binoculars.
Yeah.
Okay,
if they're coming at you with the binoculars, it's like, come on now.
That's a little creepy. That's starting to get on the borderline and, me wanting to call the police on them.
Right. But we'll just wrap it in greenhouse plastic anyway.
Right.
So that's even still fine. If you live in a neighborhood, we'll enclose you. So, don't feel limited. That's that's our main message, is like you are not limited. We are here to help you in any way necessary to transform
Did
any
you have
space.
any pictures? Did he throw some pictures up?
Yeah, I did.
You know,
I sent some
so how
pictures
often
to James.
do you top dress it with dank dust during flower in a 3-gallon? 1 tablespoon a week of dank dust, and work it into the top 2 inches of layer of the soil for the dank dust. And then about every 3 or 4 weeks, put a little bit of worm castings in there. In a 3-gallon, I'd probably put a 1/4 cup of worm castings in there, and just cultivate it into the top of the soil. So yeah. I think that one's for you, man.
How do you build
everybody
hydroponic
in this world
systems?
knows that I'm a soil guy. So.
Right. Well, I when I first learned about all this, I was a.
How do you build hydroponic systems? Or no, not how. Do
you build hydroponic systems? Yes, most definitely.
Yeah, so there you go.
We can build a hydroponic system to fit anyone's needs. In fact, this is probably a good opportunity. James, would you put job number 1 up? I believe was the one.
Yeah, I'll put it's the tank with the controller, right? That's up now.
Yeah, and then the
Finished product.
the table afterward, that was kind of a dream of a client, and he
Right.
kind of drew it out for us, and we were like, yeah, we can build that. We understand that concept. We think that will work.
Yeah.
We think you can feed the plants
Right.
with that. So it's kind of the spaceship. It's the behemoth. It's like floating. We hung it from the ceiling, so there's
That's cool.
nothing underneath it.
Right on.
I don't know if we're looking at it or not. I can't see.
Awesome.
Okay.
I'll give you a quick preview here. That's what's online now.
Right on.
If that makes sense. So.
Gotcha. So yeah, that's a beautiful shot.
Yep.
Of,
So talk to us about that.
That's a 3-patient grow space, that we made for a caregiver, and like I said, that design was his dream, and we brought it to life. And
So
that's,
he gave you the plans, and you built what he wanted.
Yep, and
You
that's a
customized it
custom
to him.
table.
What
Exactly.
kind of lights are you using right there?
Those are 1,000-watt high pressure
Nice,
sodiums.
man. Hey, I love my
Right,
1,000-watt high pressure sodiums, brother. You're not going to. I won't
Well, so
be
does
hating
he.
on those, man, at all. Because I love them.
And we are, we're venting it out, and there's some heat, and he's
Yeah.
considering making a change, but this was what he knew, and this is how he wanted to
Absolutely.
get started,
Yeah.
and we're all kind of learning now that it's legal. There's so much more information out there, there's just, the possibilities are endless. So.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's a nice build. So good work. So that's why I like these guys, because from what I see, they do quality work, and I just think that they take great care of the clients. So I am old and poor and do not have a green thumb. What is the cheapest and easiest way how to grow a quality plant for myself? Again, the first thing I'm going to want to know is what kind of space do you have? The cheapest and easiest way to grow a plant, get some seeds, buy some soil, and I recommend the Dank or 1-1. You can grow it outside in the summer. Put it on your deck. Make sure that you have somebody. If you don't have a family member, call Stewart. He'll come over and he'll block it off so the neighbors can't see.
Right.
And plant you a plant in a pot out on the back patio, and grow you. Just love it all summer long, and grow you a nice big fat dank plant full of great meds out on your back patio. It doesn't cost a lot of money. The sunlight's free, and all you need is a little bit of effort. Even when, man, I know people in wheelchairs that can only use one arm that grow their own cannabis, okay? So it can be done. I'm not saying that would be easy, but it can be done. So if you can get out on your back deck, you can grow a cannabis plant as long as you can legally keep it out of the view.
And you
so
should.
that is your cheapest and easiest way to grow cannabis. it would be to get some really amazing soil and put a seed in a pot on your deck.
I mean, if you wanted to do something before next summer, you could always, if you had a space, you could go with a pretty inexpensive tent light setup, something like that, maybe a 4x4 tent or a, an even smaller tent. It depends on how much you need, of course.
Absolutely.
But there are cheap and easy ways out there.
Tent. If you have a corner in a bedroom that you can lock the door on,
absolutely,
you can put a light up in there, and you can grow yourself a plant.
Yep.
And you really don't need an amazing, huge, big money light. I mean, my Mars Hydro 1000 is plenty of light to grow one or two decent sized plants to get yourself some meds. You don't have to have a whole lot.
Right.
So I think that question's for you, brother.
Actually, yes. We are.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Could you build ADA grows? Why don't you explain to us first what an ADA grow is, and then tell us if you can build it.
ADA is an acronym for the Americans with Disabilities Act.
There you go.
And what that is there is requirements in in public spaces for wheelchair access and things to help the differently abled function. And if we had the opportunity to help out someone with an ADA grow, that'd be a really big deal for us.
Absolutely.
And we're ready and willing. We've got the information. We understand the clearances. We understand the needs of the differently abled, such as reach issues and having problems
and all
with that.
the permits
and
all that. You can handle all that stuff.
Most definitely. Yep.
And everything be done to code and
absolutely
compliant and
for sure.
Everything.
That's a great question, actually. Thank you.
Hydrotron clay, that's the next one. Thoughts on Hydrotron clay for a medium for hydro grow?
Is that the
little clay
little
pellet? You don't know
balls?
what Hydrotron is?
Yeah, I don't like those, so maybe that's why I forgot the name. But I'm sorry. They're just a pain. That's just my opinion. I apologize.
Did you crush somebody's toes? It sounds like I heard pain.
Nobody told me everything not to say before I came on here.
That's because we want the truth, man. We want the God's honest truth. I'm going to concur. Hydrotron sucks. I used to grow deep water culture, like 6 months ago for a while, and Hydrotron. I actually switched from Hydrotron to big and chunky Paralite because I just don't like the Hydrotron.
Yeah.
And then I switched over to the pumice, the volcanic pumice, because I wanted to be able to take the root ball and cut the root ball off and throw it outside. And I didn't like Hydrotron because it never went away. Volcanic pumice doesn't either, but it's a natural. Hydrotron's not. So,
agree.
But that's my opinion. So, and that's his opinion. But I hear somebody else over there booing us because they like Hydrotron. But hey,
and that's great.
We were asked our opinion, not his.
There is no wrong proven method. Anybody can do it anyway, and there are so many ways.
Yep.
And
that's it.
So many.
And that's always my stance. There's if you like Hydrotron, all I can tell you is try them and see if you like them.
There you go.
Try them. So do we have any other questions? Awesome. Beautiful. Okay, so I think that's all for this part of the show here. So if we can get ready to move toward getting Clay up here and doing his thing, we're going to take a little break, and we'll see you guys in a few minutes, and we're going to go stretch our legs while he does his thing.
Right on. Thanks, guys. Y'all
Thank
give it
you.
up for these guys right here. Woo! Some great advice there about how to make the most of your grow space. You can reach Stewart here at TotalGreenSolutionsKC.com. Is that correct? So that's their website.
Total Green Solutions KC.
Total TotalGreenSolutionsKC.com. That's their website. You can reach out to them. Free consultations. If you have a space that you're looking at getting some help with, reach out to them. They do ADA compliancy. They can make it really easy on you, or or meet your budget, whatever that is. They can help you at least know what needs to happen to make it all happen in your garden at home, budget wise or convenience wise. So reach out to them. They're doing great things here in Kansas City. Of course, Big V, lots of great grow advice and coaching from him on the way here when we come back from a little update from the Cannon Convent Project. So we're going to, by the way, before we pass it off, we're going to give away 2 $50 gift cards to Happy Rock Farms tonight. Tag a friend to win that. And then let's take a little break here and go check in with Christina with the Cannon Convent Project.
Hi guys, hope you're enjoying the show. Christina here with the Cannon Convent Project, joined by Raymond Greer and Jody Harshman. We just got out of Raymond's probation violation hearing, and I want to give you a little bit of update on that. We had come across Raymond's story from Jamie Wilson and Crystal Wilson. They're family friends of his when he got a violation. They told him to reach out, and he did. And so now our organization has been advocating for his successful venture through this. Raymond, do you want to talk a little bit about how we got to this situation? What are you on probation for? What happened?
I'm originally on there for controlled substances, and then I ended up getting my medical card to alleviate the struggles from that, and for that way I don't have so many other triggers. Jamie and Crystal helped me reach out whenever they had all their help, and these ladies have been a huge help on everything with the support, helping me stand tall and helping me get this all figured out.
So Joni has stepped in and done an amazing amount of work to collaborate with his public defender. She submitted arguments. She's made some really amazing points. I would just like, Joni, please tell them all the amazing things you've done to help so far.
Well, based on my research, number one, it should be a clear slam dunk winner in that the argument that there was a probation violation should be denied. Article 14 gives clear protection against arrest, criminal liability, civil liability, or sanctions against a patient who has a valid medical cannabis card, which Raymond does. And he had that card prior to the alleged violation of admitting that if he were to take a UA, it would likely be positive for THC. So, number one, our Constitution makes it very clear this kind of sanction, equivalent to a probation violation in which Raymond faces potential jail time, criminal convictions, and all of the other collateral consequences that come from that negative outcome. So, we have a very strong constitutional argument. Secondarily, we have multiple Supreme Court cases from other states, most recently Pennsylvania in June 2020, where the whole probation and parole department actually had a written policy not to allow medical marijuana users to utilize that medication during probation. Well, that was struck down by the Pennsylvania Supreme Court as a denial of their constitutional right, and they did not find any prohibition in the constitutional language or any other additional statutes that went along with that passing of that medical marijuana program in Pennsylvania that prohibited probationers to utilize and consume their medical cannabis when issued by a licensed doctor. And their program and their constitutional language is very similar to Missouri's. They have a prohibition against use while incarcerated, they have a prohibition against use while in public, and they also specifically addressed a criminal history when it came to owners of facilities. So likewise in Missouri, we have no prohibition against a parolee or probationer utilizing their medical marijuana, and therefore, because it's not prohibited and because criminal history is addressed in the language of of Article 14. And there's no other, prohibitions as far as just being able to obtain your medical cannabis card. Therefore, the only result can be that they are allowed to do it. If a court or a probation officer or a prosecutor tries to prohibit it, they are violating this person's constitutional right. Small courts, not just small courts, any court, judges, prosecutors, they don't want to be the first ones to make these decisions. That's why this is such a gray area for them. Or they want to try to rely on something like federal law. Well, federal law says you have, it's still illegal federally, so you can't consume. Well, the Federal Controlled Substances Act specifically states that the state cannot regulate a federal regulated law, like the Controlled Substances Act. And we have a U.S. Supreme Court case from 1997, back in 1997, a U.S. Supreme Court case, the Prince case, that specifically said Congress cannot compel states to enforce a federal regulated program. So the state does not have standing to uphold the Controlled Substances Act and rely on that to prohibit a patient from using this. So I feel like we have a slam dunk argument. Unfortunately, it wasn't the right timing today. I wish I could have made the arguments, but I feel confident that we will win this probation violation hearing.
So even though Joni wasn't allowed to present her arguments, they are filed. Next time we are going to show up in December. It's been continued to December 17th at 1:30 or 1 o'clock p.m. We're going to show up with a doctor to appear as an expert witness of the medical necessity for him to consume his medication. So we'll have all of that, and we'll keep updating you guys as this unfolds. We'll keep you posted and remind you, come join us December 17th. Real briefly, I also want to remind everyone about the holiday helpings. We're still going to be taking donations for that through December. Everyone really stepped up and showed up, and for Thanksgiving we had so much food to provide for each of the families. We're so grateful. Keep donating. We love you guys for that. We're also doing a project where we're collaborating with the Canna Matriarchs for our POWs for Christmas. So we're going to have a GoFundMe put up for that soon if you want to donate money. That way we can get gifts that the POWs want to give to their children, directly to their children, as a gift from their fathers. So we're really excited about that. Keep an eye out for the GoFundMe. Last reminder, everyone, go get certified. We need this legal leg to stand on. Don't hesitate. Go directly to a doctor that you believe will be able to show up and testify for you in case you're ever in this situation. And reach out to us if you are currently going through such a conversation with the courts, and we'll do what we can to assist you. Enjoy the rest of the show, everybody. We'll see you next week. We love you. Bye. Bye.
Previously on the Evolution Magazine's Home Grow series.
We're here at Happy Rock Farms shooting live on Main Street in Kansas City, and tonight we have the largest studio audience here that we've ever had before. Can I get a little applause from the audience out there?
You just shake it out, and then you take it using your Happy Rock Farms business card.
Wow, they're looking great. The next day they're looking not so great. You're going, we haven't been spending enough quality time together, have we, dear?
When you go to actually extract the trichomes off the plant, you're going to use a specific micron screen, and that screen is going to allow the best and the most sought after trichome off of the plant.
And I'm going to sign it live for all of you. I'll lean down the computer. I'll make sure I'm stuck. This is the type of signing statement we need more of, all right?
What you're going to want to get is obviously some plant material. Industrial hemp is what we have here.
That's going to be like 5 plants in one seed, I'm pretty sure.
That's how easy it is to make tea.
Hold on a second.
Okay, I'm getting excited. Rally towel, rally towel. I'll bring your game.
Bring your game, because we got the A++ game here in Kansas City, so. Hey, welcome back to the Home Grows Show, episode number 32. Tag a friend to win a $50 gift card to Happy Rock Farms. For both of you, tag as many friends as you want. Let's continue the conversation about some of the typical first-time mistakes that home growers have with Big V and Stewart.
Hey, what's up? We had fun on the break. We went and ran around the block 3 times. Got some fresh air, got our heart going.
As if mine wasn't already going enough.
Right, yeah. Well, I mean, I have that effect on people.
Definitely.
So, so we're back, and we're going to talk about one of the things that I wanted to talk about tonight was, some of the common obstacles that first-time growers face, and some of the hurdles that they have to overcome, and Stewart's just going to hang out with me, and we're going to talk about it. So they do a little bit of helping, themselves, and they don't just leave you hanging if you need to learn how to grow, I'm sure. So, I teach a lot of people how to grow, and I have some clients that are where I actually am coaching them, and we start with no equipment, and we buy the equipment. We get them buying the equipment and get them in the tent, and or if they have an area that's easily converted, we'll convert that, and then get it all set up and everything, and then we have to worry about the climate and the plants and how everything meshes together and all that good stuff. So, one of the things, let's start from the beginning. So if we choose a grow space, what are some of the things that your clients would, just real quick, it doesn't have to be a in-depth answer, but what's some of the obstacles that you are going to have to overcome with the client feeling, I guess, like sometimes I feel like they're not comfortable, with certain, how do you help them come to the conclusion of where they need to have their space? How do you overcome some of the obstacles that they're facing? Because, going in and doing a build out is the physical part of what we do. But there's a whole other aspect to what guys like you and I do. I mean, we take this seriously, man. We're going into people's homes, and we are going to set them up in something that's going to change their life. They're going to start growing their own cannabis, and they're going to have their own space to do that in, and they're going to be able to do it the way they want to. And some of them might aspire to be caregivers if they're successful, and if they're not successful, and we need more caregivers. So we want these people to be successful that we're helping. And so, we have obstacles to overcome. So, do you ever have to help somebody like actually come through wanting to go ahead and grow? They're like, well, we want to, but we really don't, but we're not sure, we're a little scared, because I know I deal with that a lot.
The stigma is a big thing, you've got to, and we're all working on that,
Sure.
We're trying to be out here showing people that, medical marijuana patients are great people.
They're not just a bunch of potheads,
They're
right?
definitely not. These
Right.
are people that really need help, and the cannabis plant is amazing for that.
Right.
The information, thank goodness, it's flowing now.
Absolutely. Yeah.
As far
Thanks
as the
to guys
benefits
like
go.
Clayton and Evolution Magazine,
Absolutely.
they're getting
Thanks
that
so
out there,
much.
man. And MCIA and people that are not ashamed of the gospel of Mary Jane.
Right.
I will not be ashamed of the gospel of Mary Jane. So
Once you get
preach
past
it, brother.
that, once you get past that, it's you've just got to get legal. You know, you've got to get a lot of people don't know, you know, how to even go about doing that.
And that's one thing that you help people with too, don't you? You'll kind of guide them and direct them to where they need to go. Yeah.
We give out a lot of free advice. You know, I mean, I've got a guy that I've been communicating with since the beginning of this that he started out just by asking me a couple of questions. You know, we haven't provided him any services, but just recently, to bring you up to speed, he's now sending me pictures of his plants, and he's going, "How's this looking?" You know,
isn't that awesome?
First, he showed me his little seedlings, and he had the little half a pop can, you know, bottle over it, and it was a nice little dome. And then they popped, and you know, then they came up a little bit, and then he sent me a message, and he's like, "Oh no, what's going on here?" Because they kind of looked sad, and I was like, you know, I gave him a little bit of advice, and then he's like sending me another one, and he's like, "Oh, everybody's happy again." So you know, we do that all the time.
But that's why we love this, man. That's because I mean, you know, it takes us back. I know I'm going to speak for myself because you know it takes me back to when I first believed. It takes me back to when I first decided I was going to grow my own cannabis, and I was an avid organic tomato grower and zucchini, and I had a big garden out back and all that, eggplant, and you know, all the stuff. I was an avid organic gardener before I decided that I was going to delve into the world of growing my own cannabis. But it's always such a pleasure to see the excitement coming out. I mean, I have patients that are in their early 40s. I have, or not patients, grow coach clients that are in their early 40s. I have them that are in their mid 60s, late 60s, and I have, I had Russ here. He's up around 70 years old. I don't remember exactly how old he is, but is he 60 or 70? Okay, so he's 60. See, I'm bad.
They come in all shapes.
I know, so
the plant does not discriminate.
Watching them go through that process of actually birthing the plant out of the ground, and it's just so cool to seeing them. It's almost like reliving it yourself. You know what I mean? So, but yeah, you're right. I mean, I think the first obstacle that everybody really has to overcome, and one that we both probably run into a lot, is would be the getting licensed, and a lot of people, they're like, we don't know what to do, and so I just direct them to someone that I trust that can take care of that for them. So that's a common.
The process is super easy.
Yeah, and if you
there's so many services out there.
Yeah, and so I mean, if you're out there right now and you want to be legal and you don't know how, I mean, hit me up, hit Stewart up. There are all kinds of people. I know. I've never met her, but Deb Nash, she definitely will help you get lined up if you're down around, I believe she's down around the Springfield area. She'll help you get hooked up, So there are a lot of people out there, and we can direct you, and quite honestly, they're doing it all online mostly now.
Absolutely,
with the teledoc and stuff. So
that's what
you don't even have to be in the presence, and you don't even have to travel. If you're unable to travel, you can do it over your computer. And if you need help getting certified, I mean, I'm glad. I help a lot of people find the direction they need to get certified. No, I don't charge for it. Believe me, I don't charge for 99% of my coaching services because I want to help people. Okay, am I lying?
No.
Am I lying?
No.
Okay, so
people need help.
Okay, I am out there just trying to help people grow. Okay, so if there's any wonder, I'm not making bank doing this. Okay, I'm doing it because I love this and I want people to be able to grow their own medication, and that's why Stewart's doing it.
Yep.
So we want to help you get certified, get your prescription, get your license to cultivate or your permit to cultivate, and teach you how to cultivate. So hit us up if you need some direction. There's a lot of people, a lot of places we can send you. So a question is actually what I was getting ready to go into. Watering, is it a common issue? I love that question. Watering is common. If you want the plant to grow, watering is common. So I'm being a smart ass because I know who asked the question. No, watering is common, and one of the most common problems that we have was Maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm not, but it is yes, watering is a common issue, okay? And watering as a whole is a common issue. Overwatering is a common issue. Underwatering is a common issue. Being right on the money and knowing how to water a plant when you first start growing is not a common issue, okay? That is the most prominent thing you're going to have to learn how to do to take care of your plant properly, is learn when it needs water and when it doesn't need water. It's not a difficult issue, but it is a common issue, and it is one that's hard to get down. And you don't have to feel bad if it's hard for you to get down. I killed I don't know how many plants because of root rot. I walked into my garden when I first, and I say when I first started growing, I'm talking about a good span of time, of that time. And I still, we get busy and forget to water sometimes too, and the plant suffers, or we can't get to it. But underwatering, you go in, your plants, looking droopy. You have to find that balance. Everybody wants to get on a schedule. They want to water their plant every other day, or water their plant every 4 days, or whatever. But you really can't put a plant on a schedule. That rhymed.
You can't put a plant.
You can't put a plant on a schedule. That rhymed. Dude, man, I'm tell you what. You know what?
Natural.
I am a natural poet. It comes to me. It just, can't you tell that I'm poetic?
Oh, yes,
I should have a hat, dude. I actually used to have a hat.
Yeah,
I got it at the Ren Fest.
Yeah,
I protested strongly about wearing that hat, but I wore it. So anyway, watering, you can't put it on a schedule. You have to, now, if you're in hydroponics, watering's not an issue. Water quality is an issue, because the plant should always have water. The quality of the water is where everything comes into question. But in soil, you have to find the balance, and you have to learn to read what the plant needs. It's not extremely difficult. You can do the finger test. There are other methods out there, but just don't even worry about them, other than the weight, if you can pick up your plant. But if you grow any length of time at all, you're going to find out that picking up a plant that's 7.5 weeks into bloom and not breaking a branch, if you've got buds on it at all, you're not going to want to do that. So you want to do the dip. You plunge your finger knuckle deep, or 3 knuckles, but halfway between the stalk of the plant and the edge of the bucket, you go down, and if your hand feels like it's wrapped in a moist sponge and it comes out and you can feel the cool air on your finger because there's moisture in the soil, the plant does not need watered. It's that simple. It's that easy. It's hard because learning that touch and everything, but it's that easy. It's just getting the feel for it. So yes, watering is 100% the most common issue that we deal with when people are first learning how to grow for themselves. So that is where I focus a lot of my attention on. So, and that's one of the, getting water to the grow site. That's another thing.
It's a big
so,
one.
Now I have a room with 3 patients in it, or 2 patients and a caregiver, in 7-gallon bags. And when I'm in full bloom, I water 2 gallons every day, practically, when they're in full bloom. Because I'm vegging for 9 to 10 weeks. I have huge plants. They finish out 5.5 feet tall, probably 3 feet wide. And they drink a lot of water when they're in week 7, week 8, week 9. And they go to week 10. So I'm using, for 18 plants, I'm using almost 40 gallons of water, almost every day. Okay? So the average new grower's not going to use that much water.
That's a lot of water.
I saw your eyes. You're like, oh my God. It's like, wow, that's a lot of water. So now I'm going to say that, your assessment of hydroponics using more water or using than soil is relative to the situation.
I would say yes. Yeah, that is. I would concede to that.
So
now that you mention
it's relative to the situation, But I can grow enough on one plant to last a patient as long as they need. Until what's that?
Can you tell us? Repeat the question so they can hear. But can you tell us like what your normal water day schedule is like in your garden?
Okay. And the question here has been switched over, so I'm not sure. The question that we were answering was is watering a common issue? My watering schedule, I don't have a watering schedule. I water the plant when it needs to be watered. I do what I teach people to do. I stick my finger in the soil, and if the plant needs watered, it gets watered. Sometimes I'll water, if I have 6 plants, sometimes I'll water 4 and not water 2, because they don't need it, Now I kind of know, because I've got the feel for it, how much difference there is between this plant and this plant in water when I'm feeling it. So if I only need to give this plant so much water to kind of even it out with this, so hopefully the next time I water, I can water them all.
So how many days are you checking, by the way?
Every day. Every single day.
Times a day?
No. One time a day. I go in when the lights come on, and I check the soil, and if it doesn't look like it needs watered, then I'll just leave it until the next day. I actually want it to get to a certain amount of dryness before I water it again, because the roots like the oxygen in the soil, and the only way for water to do its job and transport dissolved oxygen into the root zone is if the water leaves the root zone. So we want the plant to dry out to right around 30 or 40%, in my opinion, of its total ability to hold, moisture. So, or its total moisture content. I would like it to be about 30 or 40%, and then I'll water it. And I water light, I'll water light twice, and then I'll water really heavy the third time. Just saturate, make sure I've got good runoff, but I won't leave. I want the runoff to be wicked back up within an hour. So that's how I do. I've tried to put everything on a schedule where, okay, I'm going to water Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and then I'm going to water heavy Friday so I don't have to water Sunday, and then I can water again Monday. And I come in Monday morning, and these plants look great, and this one over here is about dead because it drunk all the water up Saturday, and I'm not in there till Monday. So I check on them every day, and it's definitely something. I mean, growing your own is like having a puppy. It's like having a dog. You have to take care of it, and you have to take care of it almost every day, just so that you make sure that nothing goes wrong, because that one day that you don't go in and check on it, something's going to go wrong. So let's go to this question here. Now I'm going to let you answer this. How about for hydro grow? How often does the water need replaced? And that's one thing that is, I hear a lot. I get asked a lot. How often in hydroponics do you need to replace the water in your reservoir? Does it matter the type of hydroponics you're growing?
For what we've always done, which would be an ebb and flow system, always ran Flora series from General Hydroponics. They say, you can go 2 weeks on a reservoir if it doesn't get too low and the pumps don't start sucking air. But it says for really big fruit, change every week. So,
right.
You kind of can decide that.
Yeah. So you'd say that was something that you have to dial in? You think different varieties?
Well, I think that, different varieties are going to, of course, require different things more so than others. And then, what about your evaporation rate in the room?
Right.
Is it running your reservoir so low that you're having to change every week?
Yeah.
You don't want to, let it get too low, and then the plants don't get any water, and then, they just get super sad,
Right.
Just like what you were saying.
See, when I was running deep water culture a few months ago, back in the day, I had a float valve. I had my reservoir, my main reservoir, and I was feeding several buckets. And I had 10-gallon buckets. I was doing an undercurrent, deep water culture undercurrent was my last deep water culture experience. And I had a large reservoir, enough, I believe my reservoir was 60-gallon reservoir. But of course, with every 10-gallon bucket, there was like close to 100 gallons or, just in the buckets. And then a 60-gallon reservoir. So I had a float valve I had in the reservoir hooked to an RO system. And when the water level would drop in the main reservoir, the RO system would kick on and fill the water back up. So I never lost any water. So, but what I did get is I got the EC or the ppm, whatever you choose to measure it as, same reading. It would drop drastically.
Right.
Or it would, because you're adding water
Diluting it.
and you're diluting it down as the plant uses the water.
But you have to keep the water with the deep water cultures, so you have to add the water.
And so, but I didn't, I would run my reservoir all the way through the entire veg cycle before I would flush it and switch it over to the bloom. And because of course, I'm only doing 3 weeks veg anyway, so but I used Botanicare Pro Blend Pure. That's what I used, which because I was trying to get as close to organic as I could in hydroponics. And then, but at that time, that was as close as you could get. So I'm hearing there are some other companies out there that are working on some nutrients that are very very close to being as organic as you can possibly get and not having soil. So so if you, as far as your water in hydroponics, if you're like doing an ebb and flow and you're having to change it out on the reg, the recommended is every week. And I agree with that because you need fresh nutrients. Most people do it every other week. But,
And some people measure, but that's kind of, that's some next level stuff.
Right.
If you want to get a ppm meter, that's great because then you can, you can know what you're working with. You know exactly when to change it. No overdoing it, no underdoing it.
Yep.
So.
And EC, ppm, we got
I'm gonna get
master,
a list of what not to say before the
master
next one. If I do this
here.
again,
And I'm not exaggerating, but so for the average grow, for the average patient growing 6 plants in each stage, how many gallons of water does aeroponics system usually have? What do you know about aeroponics? That's a loaded question.
It really is. I mean,
it's not really. I don't think it's a tough question because I'm going to just say that it's relative to the system. Can you give me a schematic to the system that you're using? Because there's a lot of different types of aeroponic systems out there. I know I did an experiment where I grew an aeroponic system where I had 3 rails, and I got it off of DIY online. I had 3 rails. They were each 6 feet long, and there were 9 or 6 plants in each rail. And I had a 20-gallon reservoir, and it constantly sprayed the roots of the plants on a timer. That was my aeroponics. And so 20-gallon reservoir is what I used. But of course, if you had a system that had 9 rails, you would have to have a bigger reservoir. If so that's relative to the size of the aeroponic system you use. And so if you're looking at one particular aeroponic system, and you can probably get in the specifications and find out how many gallons a reservoir has. If you don't have an aeroponic system and you're trying to decide which one you want to get because you have limitations or you don't have limitations and you want to go as big as you can, come talk to us. We'll get you set up. We can get you an aeroponic system from Happy Rock Farms right here. We can get it ordered. We can get them pre-built. I can help you do a DIY. I wouldn't mind, we can sit right back here in the shop and build it, and you can take it home with you. So, but that's going to be relative to the size of the system. What's the best way to tell when your buds are ready to cut and harvest? Didn't we just do a show about this? You didn't, but yeah.
No, I didn't, but I think I did watch.
Yeah, so that's a great question because we get that question all the time. And the best way to tell when the easiest way for somebody who hasn't dialed in a specific cultivar or really got to know that cultivar is get yourself a microscope, get yourself a 60 times 100 zoom little microscope. We have them here. They're pretty inexpensive, around $10 or so. And you can look at the trichomes and you can tell, you can get a good idea of when a plant is at its peak ripeness by looking at the color of the trichomes. If you have cloudy trichomes, then you're in the window. If your trichomes are completely cloudy and you might see one or two clear trichomes here and there, you're in that window to harvest. You can go all the way over until you start seeing a little bit of amber in the heads of the trichomes, not the stems, the heads of the trichomes. But again, you find that window and you harvest in that window, you'll get a slightly different effect from whether you harvest at the beginning of the window, the middle of the window, or the end of the window. But the easiest way to tell, the best way to tell is by looking at the trichomes, and that'll give you a good idea of when it's ready to harvest. So, and if you don't know what a trichome looks like under a scope, Google it. There's all kinds of pictures of trichomes under scopes out there, and there are charts out there that will show you what a cloudy trichome is, what a clear trichome is, what an amber trichome is, and you can get an idea what you're looking at before you go, looking through the mic. So, that's the best way to tell is with a, and it has a little light on it, so it lights everything up. It's really cool. It's got a focus.
What about flushing? So you need to know a couple weeks in advance for the flushing part. Like, what are you looking at for the flushing to the harvest?
Okay. If you're growing in hydroponics, you want to take that, or do you want me to answer that?
Yeah, you can repeat the question.
How do you know when to start flushing?
We don't.
We don't
flush.
You don't flush?
Nope.
Okay.
That's our personal preference.
Yeah.
And
that's an in-house debate because some people think flushing is a complete myth. Some people swear by it. So you don't flush. I don't flush either. I grow in organic soil. It's pointless to flush in organic soil. You're doing nothing for the plant, and you can't flush organic soil. If you're growing with salt-based nutrients in soil, you can flush the salt out. But is it beneficial? That's an in-house debate. How do I know? When I was harvesting and in hydroponics and I wanted to know how to flush, how I knew was when I kept an eye on the trichomes. After week 6, I start inspecting the trichomes. And when I first start to see those trichomes, they get about 50% cloudy, then I'm going to flush. That's when I would flush in hydroponics. If you want to flush when your trichomes are 50% clear and 50% cloudy, and that gives you the right window, and you can pretty much guarantee that within another week or two, that whole time you're going to start within the week or two, you're going to start seeing them fade, and they're going to go all the way milky, and then you'll even start getting some amber, 2 to 3 weeks down the road, and just flush. And so when they're about 50% milky is when you want to start flushing. That's my preference. So,
and just to add to that, make sure that you, after you do harvest, make sure you cure. I say, a lot of people, they go right into it as soon as it's dry,
Guilty.
I know. I recommend that. I've had to do a lot of learning, since we started all of this, and that's something that I think is it's vital. So smoke what you have to, but let the rest cure.
Yeah, because it definitely brings out the flavonoids and the terpenes and everything. It enhances them to get that good cure on it, and Yeah, so I agree. A good cure doesn't hurt anything. It's not necessary though. You can pull a
Definitely
bud
not
right
necessary.
off the drying rack, cut that sucker up, put it in your grinder, break it
Absolutely.
up, whatever you want to do, and smoke it. Great meds. So let's see. I got to quit tapping that table. Overfeeding. So that's one of the things I definitely want to talk about, because what I run into a lot of times is that we get online, we read what people are doing, we read what they're feeding, and we just feel like we need to do something to help that plant grow. If that plant's not telling you that it needs to be fed, don't feed it. When you overfeed a cannabis plant, you kill a lot of the desired traits that you're looking for. Less is more with cannabis. You want to feed it just enough to give it what it needs to get really big and fat, which if you give it too much of a certain type of nutrient, you'll shut it down. If the balance is off in your medium, whatever your medium is, you'll shut down the production of trichomes. You'll shut down the production of terpenes. And so you want to make sure that you're not overfeeding it. And you might not even know you're overfeeding it, because the plant might look healthy and fine. It just doesn't yield worth a crap. Or it doesn't have, a great smell to it at the end when it's supposed to be just, that heavenly fragrance when you walk into your grow room and it's just like, oh my God, I feel like I just walked into Tolber's Flowers. Did I just shout out them? I've been doing business with those guys for years. Anyway, so they better give me a check. So anyway, yeah, so you definitely want to not overfeed. Resist the urge to put food in your soil unless the plant tells you it needs it. And how do you know when the plant tells you it needs it? You have to learn. I mean, that comes with experience. When you see your plant starting to fade a little bit, you know it's going to need a little bit of food. The first thing a plant's going to get depleted of, in my opinion, if it's in a healthy medium, is the nitrogen. It's going to start getting a little light, a little pale. It might even start showing some, some stress in the leaves. They don't look as up and perky and, like they are. So then you might need to know you need to feed them a little bit. But if you know the soil you're in and you know how it behaves, then you can, start amending it because you know it. You can start amending it when, like what I do. Like when you're growing in the dank and you get to that, when you've just planted in it and you've gone through veg, you don't need to water anything. Or you don't need to feed anything. You definitely need to water. You don't need to feed anything. You get about, if you have a very hungry variety and you start getting you go through the stretch after you flip to 12-12, you're coming through your second week of bloom and you're going through that stretch, and you'll start looking at the leaves and you'll see, that's when the plant's going to show its weaknesses, okay? That's when it's going to show that it might need a little extra nitrogen, or it might need, and I'm going to ask you to refrain, because you don't want to give a plant a lot of nitrogen while it's in the stretch, because it's going to promote that green growth and it's going to just cause it to stretch. So you want to let it go through that, and then you give it a top dressing that's geared toward bloom. It's low in nitrogen, and the dank dust is that what I've made to go with the soil, and you just mix that in and you start feeding the soil. And you do it very lightly, because a cannabis plant doesn't need the amount of nutrients that most of us give it. An example, okay, when I first started growing, what I had available to me, the knowledge of the guy at the grow shop, he put me up in Fox Farm soil, okay? And he put me up in a mix. I used to mix Light Warrior with Ocean Forest, okay? That was my first blend, and I was a big shot because I was mixing soil. So I loved it, and I'd get 2 bags, and I'd go home, and I'd break them open, put them in a kiddie pool, mix them all up, and I was doing my shit, dude. Or I'm sorry, I was doing my stuff. And sorry, I'm trying to be stoned and not cuss here. I I mix it all up and put it in my pots, and I'd feed it the 3-part, and I followed the feeding chart that I printed off of the Fox Farm website and gave it exactly what it said to do. And I didn't have a ppm meter, but I did buy a pH meter because they said you need to make sure that the pH is right. But I knew as much as most people that are starting right now knew. I knew nothing. And so I listened to what he said, and he was right. And I grew nice plants, after I stopped overwatering them and killing them with root rot. And after I stopped, letting them grow too close to the light, leaving the light too far away and having them stretch all over the place, all the stupid stuff we do when we first start growing and we have no direction. So once I got through that, I started experimenting with the doses of nutrients. Of course, I had a guy online on the forum I was on, and he took me under his wing because I had gotten the same variety of seeds that was his favorite variety. And he saw I was growing in Fox Farm soil, and that's what he did. So he took me under his wing, and him and I started working on my growing. And he taught me how to reduce my nutrients and get more out of my plants. And by the time we were done, I was using the Fox Farm Trio, and then the other trio, the Cha-Ching, what's it all called now? I can't even remember. The Cha-Ching, the Beastie Blooms, anyway, those, the bloom boosters. And I was using about maybe a quarter to a little less of what they recommended. I mean, it was that much that I cut the recipe back, and because they had me way over, using their nutrients, because, they want to sell nutrients. So they tell you the maximum amount of nutrients you can use in your mix and not destroy your plants. But you're not getting the best out of your plants. So less is more. So, don't overfeed your plants. That's one of the second most common things I deal with is people just want to dump crap into their dirt, thinking, and rightfully thinking, you're doing your plant a favor, but a lot of times you're hindering it. So less is more. Don't overfeed. Go very light with the food. So that's that. What would you say a cannabis plant likes to be challenged? Depends on how old it is. You got to be careful because you'll scar them if you challenge them too hard when they're too young. They'll get all kinds of emotional issues, and they'll feel like, inadequate and all kinds of stuff. So you don't want to challenge them too hard. That's why we do participation trophies. I'm going to shut up on that now. So no. Do they like to be challenged? I don't really know what that means. Right. But I'm going to interpret it and say that.
I challenge them.
Do they, as far as like training and now when I'm testing a new variety, I put it through the ringer. I mean, I underwater it, I overwater it, I put the light too close to it, I stress it as hard as I can stress it, and I'll have 2 or 3 of the same variety that I stress differently just to see if I can get it to Hermy. Now, this is usually what I'm doing when I'm doing my own breeding projects. So, do they like to be challenged? I don't know whether they like it or not, but I know that it sure affects your yield. If you know what you're doing and you know how to pinch and top and do LST and everything else, you're gonna really expand your yields. So, but whether it likes it or not, I mean, I don't know that I would like to have my arm broke, but it might, if it helps me, then
they need motivation. They're like, I just say to mine, I say, I bet you can't grow so big.
So you do challenge.
Oh yeah, I challenge them. Yeah. I say, if you can grow bigger than this one, and
do you offer them prizes?
They only like water.
Only like water?
Yeah.
You know what I do?
I'm
like, hey, you know what? And I like contests, so obviously,
Yeah.
I like contests. I say, and I like giving stuff away. So I say, if you outgrow her, I'll give you molasses next time.
Ooh, yeah. And I'll call you my favorite pheno.
Yeah, for now.
For now.
Until somebody else
exactly.
comes along. So, and When and do you defoliate? Do I defoliate? We just talked about this today, and I showed you some pictures.
Most definitely, yeah.
Do I defoliate?
Is that a form of challenging your plants? Because if
Maybe.
it is, then yes,
No,
most definitely.
To me, it's a form of getting them into a place where they're going to give me the best bud that I can get and not have a bunch of larf. I just got my plants ready to flip, and I stripped them from about this far all the way down. I'll post pictures tomorrow. You can see. But I definitely defoliate. I do it a week before I bloom. I shave its legs. That's what I always shave their legs. Boom. Everything from about here, about the top 6 inches, because you have to keep in mind that plant's going to stretch, and I really don't want any more than 18 inches of a plant where I'm getting the bud. Not that anything lower is bad, but it's just I'm going for the top 18
it's not
inches
as
growth.
Good, right.
Okay, so yes, I stripped the plant a week before I flip the light cycle to bloom, and I take it down to nothing, everything below the top 6 inches of the plant. I'll post pictures tomorrow, so check out my page tomorrow morning, or I might even post them tonight. And so yes, I definitely defoliate, and I do it again at week 3 and bloom. What about you?
I don't like to take too much off in bloom.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that's kind of stressful,
Minimal.
and they're kind of definitely minimal.
I agree.
If there's just a couple leaves, if something's really blocking something,
Right.
I might tuck it, or I might pinch it.
Nip and tuck here,
but
and
very
there.
little. Right? Yeah, I don't like to mess with them too much in flower.
I'm definitely in agreement, and there are a lot of people that do some pretty hardcore
I've seen some, and I was very
defoliation.
surprised.
Well, in a commercial grow facility, heavy defoliation is necessary because you're dealing with mildew, you're dealing with all kinds of issues. They're really packing the plants into. Most of them are doing like scrogs or something to that nature, and they've got a lot of plant material packed into a tight area, and so they have to go through and bust all the big fans off because they have to get airflow. They have it, so they're not doing it for yield though. And for a home grower, there's a big difference between growing for a huge grow operation and growing 6 plants in your closet or your basement.
Right.
And you don't necessarily want to do those practices because even though they're the best practices for a large facility, they're not the best practices for a small home grow. And heavy defoliation during flower, in my opinion, I agree, is a no-no. Let it go. If you have to, I'll go about between week 2 and 3 during that 3rd week, and I'll pick off and do any last defoliation I think I need to get. Like if I have a branch that just is spending up and it's just going crazy and it's little and spindly, I'll clip it off. But
Right.
I try to do all mine at least a week before I'm going to flip the light cycle to 12-12. So I think we covered overfeeding. One of the things that we struggle with here in Missouri, I think the biggest obstacle we overcome with our environment is humidity. It is a factor. I'm going to say that too much humidity is worse than not enough humidity. When we get in and we read about growing, it says your humidity this is where it's ideal, okay? And that's true. But when you're just growing in a small grow for yourself, there's a parameter, okay? And when you can't control the environment completely, if you get hung up on certain things about your environment, you will be fighting them constantly, and you will kill the joy of growing your medication. What you have to do is understand the parameters. The humidity, if your humidity gets up past 65%, as far as I'm concerned, you're in dangerous grounds. You need a dehumidifier. But then you bring heat in, so it creates, everything you bring in creates issues. Ventilation is the best way to control your humidity. And if you're in a tent, your tent is going to, at some point in time, you want to keep your tent regulated to the space it's in outside. So if you want to control the humidity in your tent and you're venting your tent, You need to control the humidity in the main room the tent's in. But, you know, when we talk about too much humidity, that's your biggest, that's your issue you want to pay the most to. You really want to keep your humidity about 58 degrees, or 58% relative humidity. Now, doing that is another obstacle, but that is extremely important to keep your humidity under 60%, because you're getting into the area where you have bud rot and stuff. But if you can't keep your humidity under 60% and it hovers in that 63%, which a lot of times in Missouri it does in the summer, or especially if we have a few days in a row, I mean, that are raining and humid, then we deal with that. So the way we can combat that and kind of counter that is by a lot of airflow. Keep a lot of fans blowing in the area and keeping that air moving, and try to, you know, that's the best you can do sometimes, you know, until you are ready to start spending some money on a controlled environment. And most people who are just learning how to grow or just want to grow a few plants for themselves, you don't need that. You just need to keep that, you know, in that relative comfortable zone. Right now, I'm starting to see a lot of humidity percentages. The RH is down into, you know, as low as 26% some mornings. You know, you go in, the lights off, and it's cold, and the humidity's low, and so you're having, and that's way low. To me, that's dangerously low. Will the plant survive? Yeah, the plant will do okay. Mist it with some water if you have to, but what you need to do is you need to get a humidifier. But you don't want a wet humidifier. You want a dry air. You want one that blows and it doesn't really mist. The misting's not horrible if the humidity's really low, but you definitely don't want a hot mist. If it's a mist, it's got to be a cool mist. I prefer to see a humidifier that's not misting. But we need to bring it up, and sometimes just getting it up a few percentages is a headache. You know, it's hard to do. But if you can get it up above 30%, and that's a struggle, but that's all you can get, guess what? That's all you can get. That's when you have to start, you know, taking matters into your own hands and going down when the lights come on, just before the lights come on, and misting the plants really good just before the lights come on, and letting the fans blow over the plants. Now, not when they're in bloom. Don't mist them when they're in bloom. But if they're in veg, you can mist the plants and help bring the humidity up. Empty buckets of water, or not empty, but, you know, empty buckets of water. Okay, yeah. Put an empty bucket of water in there. Figure that one out.
Gonna help you.
If you can figure out how to put an empty bucket of water in a room, $250 and a bag of dank. Yeah, no. Be the first one to answer that question with a good, truthful answer. How do you put an empty bucket of water in a room?
That's a tough one.
That's a tough one. Anyway, so yeah, you put
My
a bucket.
first instinct is to go bucket in bucket, but I don't know the rules. You know, I don't know all the rules.
But if you can put, like, you know, something in there where the water can evaporate into the air, it helps. You know, the biggest thing you're going to suffer from low humidity is your plants drying out too fast. But what I'm trying, the point I'm trying to get across here is, you know, don't trip out on it so much. Okay. Yeah, the humidity might get low, but if you don't want to spend, you know, a good chunk of money to do what you need to do to get that humidity into the right range, then you just deal with it. Your plants aren't going to die. They're going to suffer. You might not get as great a yield. You might not have as great a terpene profiles. You might get some drying out of the leaves if you can't mist them, but you're not going to, you know, you're still going to be able to pull it through a successful harvest. If you can't afford to, then keep it in, you know, get the equipment you need to keep it in the realm. Call Total Green Solutions out, and they'll come build you a climate-controlled room. You know,
humidifier, dehumidifier.
Do you guys accept credit cards yet?
No, checks and Venmo. I think is what we've got set up.
Yeah. So
and cash, of course.
And cash is king.
Yes.
You can call them. They can come, you know, build you a climate-controlled room or whatever. Or if you need some help, just figuring out what you have and how to better control it, call me. I'll come out and I'll check it out, and we'll try to figure out the best solution for your situation.
Free consultation.
Yeah. So, but you don't just get it within a parameter. If you can keep it between, let's say 58%, and I know that's a little particular, but I don't like the number 6. As soon as the number 6 enters in, I get uncomfortable. So if you can keep it around 58%, and in between 42% relative humidity in Missouri without climate control, you're doing good. You're doing good. That's what you want to shoot for. And then if you really can't live with that, like you want to move forward and progress in your grow, then what you want to do is you want to add an air conditioner, add a dehumidifier, a humidifier, and add all the equipment that you need in order to keep your climate where it needs to be and dial it in. So, but you'll do that as you get more prominent in your growing. And that's, just your climate control. So, I think, those are probably the main issues that we face when we're going through and we're learning how to grow. And, again, the humidity is the big one right now, especially in wintertime when everything's so dry.
Yeah.
What you need to, if you can afford to, get a humidifier. If you're a disabled veteran, I'm going to say this. If you're a disabled veteran and you need grow equipment at all, I don't care what it is, call me. I will, if I don't have it, I will find a way to find what you need if you are a disabled veteran. So that's that. Or if you're retired or if you know what, I don't care how you're disabled. If you're disabled at all, you don't have to be a veteran. And you can't afford to get your equipment that you need, then and you can't work and whatever, then call me. We will find a way to get you hooked up with the equipment you need. Yeah. That's what we do. And we've got a lot of sources that we can work from. And I'm speaking for myself, and I know that's his heart too. If if that's you, we will get you the equipment you need to be able to grow your own medicine, and I'll even teach you how to grow it. So just call me. I think that's about all I have for tonight. Again, I want to thank Treehouse Canopy down in Pacific, Missouri for picking up our soil, the dank, because they're going to be getting you guys some really good soil at a really good price. You will not find a better soil on the market, and you definitely won't find a better soil for a better price on the market anywhere than the soil we make here at Happy Rock Farms. And so shout out to him for taking us on. And, watch my show, Top Shelf. Come chill with us, sesh with us. Tuesday nights. We're really working to get to get all the bugs worked out. But it's fun, man. Just come chill with us,
It's a great time.
Fresh Green. It's the only dispensary, I believe, open in the area, but Clayton can clear that up for me in a minute if I'm wrong. MCIA, again, more shout-outs, and everybody that I know that I interact with on Facebook, man, I just love you guys, So everybody, stay chilled, happy growing, plant often. How does Jason say it? I can't remember his, he's got a little jingle he says. I can't remember it right now. I'm too medicated. But stay lifted. Clay, it's all you.
Thanks, guys, so much. Big V in the house. Stewart Wells. Thanks, guys, so much. These guys got these guys got some great things for the state here. Thanks so much, guys, for hooking us up with. And Fresh Green is the only dispensary in the Kansas City area that's open right now. We should see some more opening up in December, most likely. I think December is going to be a big month for dispensaries, not only in the Kansas City area but across the state. The dank soil, I came in here and had to sweep the floors to get this production site ready because they were having to make so much soil. They got bags. You can't even see it, but they got bags lined up in this whole back area here because it's such a hit across the state. So I don't mind sweeping up some soil for that kind of business going on. So if you need some help growing for your own at-home grow, if you're a new grower, if you're an experienced grower, any across the board, if you need help, I would recommend reaching out to Big V, Casey Grow Coach. And then, of course, Stewart, thanks so much for all of your construction knowledge tonight. They can help you guys out. One of my biggest, errors in my past of allegedly growing tomatoes in Missouri in the past few years was leaving the water on, and thank God we had a drain in the basement. So things like that, drains and water and power to your facility, they can help you out with all that. Check them out online. Thanks so much to our production crew, AV Level Up, James and Kat with Cat King Films. Thanks so much. We hope to continue to bring these great shows and other great shows Tuesday night. Check out Top Shelf Show. And thanks once again to Happy Rock Farms for letting us do the show here tonight. Reach out to them. So we'll see you guys later. Have a good night. We'll see you next Thursday and Tuesday at Top Shelf.